It's the end of an era with the Boston Bruins. Captain Zdeno Chara is leaving town. We'll discuss his new contract and how it affects the Capitals' salary cap coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. Now, as I mentioned, we have some pretty substantial news here. Longtime Bruins captain Zdeno Chara is officially leaving the Boston Bruins and has signed a one-year contract with the Washington Capitals. Now, of course, we've been reporting for some time here that the Chara's likely was not going to be returning to the Bruins. A lot of the Boston media sources that we normally use to reference a lot of the Bruins' latest rumors around trades and free agency have been indicating that they really didn't get a vibe that Chara was going to be signed by the Bruins. And Chara even confirms that as well, that it was more the Bruins' decision. I'll give you a snippet here of his farewell message that he posted on his Instagram account, which came shortly before the news was confirmed that he was heading to Washington. So as you can see here, he says that after 14 years with the Bruins, he was informed by the Bruins that they were going in a different direction, and they basically wanted to give their younger prospect, the defenseman, more of an opportunity, and he wasn't really going to be welcomed back. Now, we had heard before that the Bruins were kind of waiting on a decision from Chara, and I think the decision was whether or not he wanted to work for them in a different capacity. That's what we're hearing now, is that the Boston Bruins organization was interested in helping him get into a different kind of role. They were hoping he was going to choose retirement and stay with them in a different capacity off the ice. So whether or not he goes back to them and works in a different capacity after his playing days are over, I guess we'll have to remain to be seen on that. But I know for Bruins fans, this is going to be a big time changing of the guard. He's been there, like I said, for 14 years. Obviously, long-time captain. You know, I would assume Bergeron gets the C for the coming season, would be my guess. He's certainly well-deserving. It's basically been like a captain really as well, along with Chara for a long time. That should be a pretty easy choice for the Bruins. But obviously, you know, I heard a lot of Bruins fans kind of talk about Chara a lot when they lost in this last year's playoffs, saying how his, he's slowed down and he hasn't really got it anymore. So I guess we'll see what kind of mixed reaction we get from the Bruins fan base over this news. But the Capitals are already a fairly old team, and now they add another aging body. I would imagine Chara's role will be fairly, smaller, probably a third pair guy, 6'7" type defenseman. Says $795 for a contract is not too bad for what he can bring. I'm sure there probably is some performance bonuses built in there too. Of course, I don't have the details on that as of right now. But obviously the Capitals, we had reported as well before that they were looking to add some extra depth on the blue line, especially on the left side, because they were kind of heavy on the right side. They would like to move out defenseman Dick Jensen as well if they're able to. But at that point, that has not been able to take place as of yet, but I think they'll still consider trying to do that. Now, with the salary cap, of course, the Capitals are technically over, but they have some options. They do have a couple of contracts, including Lundqvist and Kempny, that can go on long-term injury reserve. That's a total of $4 million, so they can become cap compliant through that method, or at the same time, depending on how they want to structure their roster, they might be able to get a little bit of wiggle room by not carrying so many players that go with a less than a 23-man roster on the regular everyday roster here, and could get more of these players on their taxi squad, but then players could require waivers. So they probably will just go the route of using long-term injury reserve, would be my guess. So obviously, might be kind of neat to see Chara and Ovechkin playing together. Like I said, the Caps are an older team. I'm not sure how they're going to fare. I mean, you can't count them out. They're going to be another force to be reckoned with, I would think, but you get obviously guys like Ovechkin and Backstrom and Oshie all getting up there. You add in Chara as well. They have a few other players, even like Hagelin, Eller, like they're all getting up there a little bit. Like they're not like super old, but they're all getting to the point where they're, you could argue their prime years are behind them. Their blue line is mostly 29 and 30 and up. There's not a whole lot of youth in there. There is some that they're going to try to work in this year, but not a ton. So we'll see if they can get some other little bit of youth in their lineup this year. Maybe a guy like Connor McMichael might be able to step up after the World Juniors and see if he can get a spot with the Capitals, because that's where he likely goes when the tournament's done. So Zdeno Chara to Washington Capitals. Is certainly going to be really weird to see him in any other uniform besides the Bruins. Of course, he previously had a pretty good stint with the Senators and the Islanders, but still, I think mostly he'll be remembered for his time in Boston. Of course, he's got a Stanley Cup. Be really kind of neat to see him and Ovechkin chase a second Stanley Cup together as teammates. So let me know your thoughts on this signing here for the Capitals. Obviously, Big Z leaves Boston. It's the end of an era, and I'm sure, like I said, we'll probably get a mixed reaction of Bruins fans, so I'd love to know what everybody thinks down below in the comments. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notifications so you don't miss any future content, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'd appreciate it if you did. Of course, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.